بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته
السلام
شيخ.
ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام.
Alhamdulillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All praise and thanks be to Allah Ta'ala, and our salutations and greetings by our beloved Messenger Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah bless and guide this lesson. Allahu Ameen. Alhamdulillah, hope all of you are well, inshallah Ta'ala. I think we'll have like a short lesson today. I'm not going to start a new surah. Inshallah, we'll start the new surah in the new term. So basically, Sunday coming, we'll be off the Sunday, and we'll start the next Sunday. And we'll start in the masjid, inshallah. For those of you able to come, we'll start classes back in person, our next lesson, inshallah. And we'll also obviously we'll still be on Zoom for those who are unable to make it in person. So that's quite exciting after a long time to be back in the masjid. I want to mention maybe just two main things today. The first thing is that the surahs we covered so far, we covered Naba, and we covered Nazi'at, and we covered Abasa, and we covered what's the other one now?
Takwir.
Takwir we covered. So we covered those four or five surahs. Those surahs are all Makki surahs. And as part of the exercise, I asked you to almost like go through them thematically and break them up into themes. I want to speak a bit about the theoretical aspect of it. This research, well, this approach, it's not a, I wouldn't say it's like a new approach, but sometimes things are brought to the fore in different spaces. So basically, in Oriental scholarship, in non-Muslim studying the Quran, many of them would actually bring things to the fore that was previously perhaps not as prominent, or perhaps not fully developed, or a different perspective on something. So it's not to say it's completely novel, but it's basically going to be brought to the fore. So one of those people are Angelica, I think it's called Neuwirth. Any of you speak German? I do say the name properly in German. No one speak German or no in German, yeah. Anyway, she's a German scholar. I think now you say Neuwirth or Neuwirth.
Salam Maulana, it's Neuwirth.
Neuwirth.
Yeah.
As in, is it the silent in Wirth or what?
Wirth, yeah. Wirth or Wirth. But it's
Mashallah,
Neuwirth.
do you speak German?
I can read German, yes. I did German at school, but the understanding is not that good.
Okay, mashallah. And then the first name, you say Angelica, or how do you say it?
Yeah, Angelica is probably a normal one. Normal.
Angelica or what?
No, you can pronounce it as Angelica.
Okay, shukran to that. Barakallah. So Neuwirth. So Angelica Neuwirth, that can sound proper. So she basically analyzed 48 Makki surahs, and she mentions there that all of them except 5 are all composed of a set of building blocks. So let's just read through this, inshallah. So she said the one building block of a Makki surah is signs of God in nature. And this we would know as the ayat, either in macrocosmic detail, like the heavens and the earth and so on, or sometimes even like microcosmic detail in terms of like the splitting of the seed and so on. or internally within yourselves as well. So Allah speaks about phenomena of nature in the creation of the universe, heavenly bodies, rainfall, animal and plant life. So it's signs of Allah's mercy, power, activity, and so on, and also to resurrect the dead. So it's going to be one of the building blocks of Makki surahs. Then the second one she mentions here is polemic against the disbelievers. So a polemic is basically like an argument. Um, so Allah will have this kind of, they will say something and Allah will respond to them, and it'll be this argument back and forth, and also like in the sense of a warning towards them as well. And then the third one is eschatology. And eschatology is the end of time in the afterlife, about qiyamah, about ba'ath, resurrection, about Jannah, Jahannam, and so on. So this is going to be the building block of eschatology. Then the fourth building block is going to be stories or lessons from history. So she mentions here in a common type of story, the punishment story. The messenger calls his people to repent, worship God alone, and fix their corrupt practices. Despite the messenger's warnings of punishment from God, his people use various tactics to oppose him and are consequently destroyed. So these are again kind of like warnings to the people of Makkah. The fifth one she mentions here is going to be the status of the revelation in terms of it's not the words of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's the words of Allah Ta'ala. It is sent by an angel. It has the function of guidance. So speaking about risala, basically about revelation. And then the last one she mentions here are words of encouragement to the messenger. Basically like instruction to the Prophet and to have sabr, and then victory will come, and so on. Okay, so this is going to be I've sent this to you on WhatsApp as well. This is going to be the six, right? The 6 building blocks from Angelica Neuwirth. Can you see that? Inshallah. So one thing I want you to do is I want you to do 2 things. I want you to test the theory. So I think it's useful for you to take the 5 surahs that we've done already, and then look at it, and you should, if you've been doing your work, you should have all the sections marked off, and see if does it fit within this paradigm of these 5 building blocks, or are there ones that you feel that don't fit within this 5? I think that will be the first kind of piece of homework or question I will it would be good to introspect. Then the second thing is that I have this really like amazing book. You can see it here. It's called Discovering the Quran by Neil Robinson. Do you see my camera the right way around, or is it like a mirror effect?
On what side is more than holding the book?
No, I'm saying, can you see can you read?
Oh, yes, we read it
title?
clearly.
You can see it.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So I bought this book a while back. I enjoy kind of buying contemporary scholarship of the Quran as well. Sometimes it's quite insightful. So in this book, he basically credits Angelica Neuwirth for establishing this approach, and then he takes those same 6 building blocks, and he actually expands on it. Expanding means what? That he puts into them a lot more detail. So what you do, for example, if you're speaking about, for example, let's say speaking about eschatology, you would say within eschatology there are also going to be subsets. Let me just see if I can find it quickly here. I was reading a bit earlier. So in this book here, inshallah, hopefully I will be able to type it out sometime. All the subsets. For example, in eschatology, he speaks about something called preludes. preludes means that things that precede judgment day, and a typical one is the last one. إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا البحار سجرت. When these things are happening, these are, yes, it's eschatology, but it's actually a prelude to judgment. There's going to be like one category within eschatology, almost like number 1.1. And then he speaks about the actual proceedings of Qiyamah, in terms of on that day, and so on. So not the prelude, now the actual events of it. Then he speaks about this. Sure, I don't know how to pronounce this word. Diptichs. Is it? No, it's not German. This is now English. How do you pronounce it? Teacher Atia, you have to pronounce that word. I think I know what it means. How do you pronounce the word? Anybody can just Google how you pronounce it. Let me just see how they pronounce this word. They speak here about it being as a thing of art, but I think it'll be fine pronunciation for it. Anybody know it? A diptych. Oh, so it's like a diptych. Anyway, the diptych is I think it's normally considered to be a piece of art that has two parts. That's joined by the hinge. It sounds like one of the new cell phones. Interesting. It has like two pieces of art, and like joined by the hinge, or like it can flap like that, almost like that new Microsoft phone. And anyway, it's like ancient art now. But a diptych here is obviously, it's not referring to a phone or a piece of art. It's referring to the two groups of believers and disbelievers. So in other words, فَأَمَّا وَأَمَّا وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ whatever nadira or alayha ghabara. So always this, it's about eschatology, but it's about the two categories. Then he mentions also here about another section here is in terms of flashbacks. Like people are on Qiyamah, but they're flashing back into dunya. So it's also part of eschatology. So he mentions those four subcategories of eschatology, which is interesting. So what I want you to do, and probably only the more studious ones amongst you will do this, is I wanted you to take the 5 surahs, and with your thematic analysis, I wanted you to see if these 6 themes fit into there. But then also I want you not to just say, okay, it's signs of God in nature. I wanted you to try to create subcategories of these 6. So in other words, we can say maybe the Makkan surahs have these 6, and within these 6, there are these subcategories under each one. Like what I mentioned with eschatology now as an example of a subcategory. And I think that will be useful because I suppose it's like an analytical view of the Quran. So I think that will be interesting. And then if I have time, inshallah, I will try to type out all of these. Or make a copy of it. Inshallah, I'll make a copy and send to you all of these things that he has. But I think it's good to also like use our own mind and come up with our own kind of analysis on this. And then he goes further, and he actually does it for Madani surahs as well. Whereas Angelica Neuerwit, I just say it's Neuerwit. What again now? Was recorded. She only does it for Makki surahs. So that is the first thing. Any thoughts on this? One of my thoughts is how much people are devoted to studying the Quran or not Muslim. But also that we can also benefit from them. I think one of the things within the Western world that we don't have within the Islamic world is that generally your Islamic scholars your Islamic scholars like struggle to earn a living, so they become imams and teachers, and they like struggle to earn a living, and that actually detriments um, the ability to produce scholarship. Whereas the Western university model is that people are incentivized, they are given bursaries and scholarships. There's like you get a career afterwards when you study and become, you do your masters and your PhD and you become a professor. There is a career path for you to be to study and to produce scholarship. And I think we don't have it within our Islamic framework. Obviously, if you do Islamic university, it's a whole different set of terms and foundational principles. So it creates a lack of scholarship, deep scholarship um, in the community. Akin's asking how big is the non-Muslim community in the Quran. I think it's massive, massive, massive. When I say in the non-Muslim community, I'm talking at university. At university, it will probably, I can't guess, but I'm saying it's majority non-Muslim people doing Quran Islamic studies, like majority. Not in Cape Town, I'm talking about internationally now. It's a massive, massive topic. So I think it's something that we have to think of as a community, is that we have to fund scholars, not just to complete hifz and complete their alim degrees and go to Azhar and all of those things. We have to fund scholars to do postgraduate research, because that is actually the production of kind of deep learning, study, reflection, and so on. Okay, so that's my one thought. I don't know if any of you have any thoughts on this. Not on the scholars thing, I'm talking about the building blocks. And then, okay, now is any thoughts? Then the second thing I've been looking for a long time is I've been looking for a book of synonyms in the Quran in English. Like there are a number in Arabic and Urdu. There are a number of these books, but I always try to find, like, is there a book that explains synonyms in English? And I looked again this morning trying to find something, and I actually came across this resource here, which I thought was like quite a. It's like such like a nondescript resource, but it looks quite valuable actually. Okay. So this is the one I found here. Have any of you seen this before? QuranSynonym.blogspot.com. And it looks like I actually opened it this morning and I didn't actually look through it in detail. I don't know what the quality is. It doesn't mention. I don't know if it even mentions who the author is. Okay, the whole thing is like by unknown. It doesn't really help. But anyway, so it has this. So I think it's a useful spot for students. Let's look up a word that you want to know, and you can test it out. Let's type of the word fear and see that what to see. Let's see is a nice easy one. We know already. Look at the plan. My plan's nice one. So in this one here, I mean, I haven't looked at it. I'm just saying it's useful sometimes because we often come across synonyms in the Quran. I don't know who wrote this or where it's based upon, but I just saw that. I thought it was interesting because I mean, number one is they're going to mention the synonyms for plan. So when you come across a word and you're going to learn makara, which means a plan, or makara, or makaru, or makarallah, we can also learn that the word here dabbara means to plan as well. Dabbara. The word kahada in terms of the word kaid also means to plan. Makara means to plan, and nahila is also a plan. And then they will mention here Dabara, what's the meaning of it? Kida, what's the meaning of it? And so on. And then at the end, they'll actually produce a summary of these different words. So I thought this is actually quite a useful resource to know about. It just doesn't like, I mean, it's okay. It doesn't look like so easy to find stuff. It's not like alphabetical or anything. But I think it does look like a useful resource to look at things and look for it. So that's the one. The other one I found was this one here. And maybe I'll just put this in the chat box as well, so you can see the link. But what I think would be excellent contribution. I mean, we're speaking about scholarship. One of the excellent contributions I think is a good work on synonyms in the Quran. I don't think we have it. I think this project here is trying to do this. It's called Mutaradifatul Quran translation. Mutaradifatul Quran is actually an original Urdu book. I think it's quite a famous book in terms of synonyms in the Quran, and they are trying to translate um, the book. I think it's like a multi-volume book, so I'm not sure how far they are with it. I don't even know how you even use this thing. Doesn't look like a very great website in terms of just like design, but I mean, okay, yeah, okay, yes. Anyway, so this is the one. I don't know what this is here. I think this is just the article. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to point it out to you. I think it will be useful to go through this and see if this is a good resource or not. We can use it for a bit and see how it works out. Give example, tariqa. They have all this in the top here. Tariqa, sunnah, ummah, sharia, minhaj, mansak, shakila, ma'aruf, and khuluq. So that's going to be quite a number of synonyms. And at the end, they have a nice little summary for us to get to know the words. I generally find the words quite fascinating in the Quran. Okay. So those are two things I wanted to share with you today. I don't know if there are any thoughts or comments or questions that you have. And actually, I wanted to make the rest of the year an open lesson for Dawrah. In other words, prospective students for next year can basically join the Dawrah. In other words, they can join the lessons just to, well, go through the surahs with the class, and also maybe like get a feel for how Quran translation is and how it works and so on. Any questions or comments? So for homework in summary, I'd like you to go through those 5 surahs. I'd like you to use those building blocks. I sent the building blocks to you, and mark off whether it fits in. And I'd like you to take those building blocks and put in the subcategories of them. And it could be a very useful kind of lens of viewing Makkan surahs, which is a huge amount of the Quran. And then we can move basically from there into Madani surahs. Yeah. So that's it from me. I can either end the lesson here, or I can tell you about something about the technology policy that we're introducing at Kutri. If you're a parent, I don't know if that's useful for you. Brother Shaukat said Bismillah. But let me first, yeah, any questions or comments on the Quran, Maki Quran, synonyms, that kind of thing? Okay. If not, I'll give you a